White on set, please. Second team, please.
Camera ready. First team, please.
Roll camera.
Roll sound.
Sound rolling.
Camera rolling.
Mark.
Ouch! Hey, watch it.
The old clapperboard. Take one.
Playback.
And action.
Howdy, and welcome to a special presentation by the old clapperboard.
You're late.
My horse got stuck in traffic.
Larry suggested we break it up into 5. Larry's going to be the MC this thing. So next step was funding the museum, right?
I have a bunch of interior shots too, that the quality is not too good.
Before we had the museum and that sort of
The
stuff.
logistics and kind of infrastructure that we could use.
I've got a picture.
Right, and Roger said, if you get the land, I'll build the building.
So the Dow has been there for all of it.
One of them is celebrating 25 years of the festival, so there might be right there.
And
Someone once said I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle.
And Melody, how is Dorothy
However
Bond?
it works, it works.
all right, can I say goodbye?
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What makes a certain place special? It is the friends made in that place. It's the friends that you remember, love, and cherish. They bring a smile back to your face. A special place like Lone Pine and those Alabama hills, where thousands of unknown friends come together to relive movie magic thrills. They walk and talk and stare and share. They laugh, rejoice, and fondly remember.
Howdy. Come along with me on a journey to a time not so long ago when the land was new and the west was wild, in the time of the buffalo. We'll ride Remington's hammer-headed ponies, smell the wood smoke in the air. Well, howdy. That was me back in 2022. I've been coming to the film festival since 2019. How long have you been coming? First off, I'd like to introduce the culprits of this presentation. You know, the presenters for our program. 3 of them have attended all the festivals. That's right, all 35 years of the Lone Pine Film Festival. One of them has been coming to the festival before it was even a festival. Try and figure that one out. Our first member of this production team is one who put his foot in his mouth and said, let's have a presentation on 35 years of the film festival. He is someone whose daddy was a celebrity guest at the very first festival and thereafter. He has attended all the festivals since 1996 and has even been a celebrity guest and a presenter. That would be my daddy's, whose lap I'm sitting in this picture next to me. Calls himself the old clapperboard, working behind the scenes. J.D. Whitney. He was an LA Times photojournalist in 1990 and came up to cover the first film festival, found himself getting addicted to movie-making history. He has served on both the film festival and the museum's board of directors. He knows the Alabama hills better than the back of his hand and has led so many festival tours. He now sees a therapist for PFFTDS, Post-Film Festival Tour Derangement Syndrome. It's Mr. Don Kelson. Way before the start of the film festival, she came up to the Alabama hills on a church group trip, coerced by her daddy, one of the film festival founders, Dave Holland, That trip turned in to be a fascination with Lone Pine and a film festival for 35 years. Please welcome the current director of the Lone Pine Film Festival, Melody Holland Auburn. He wandered out west after watching too many westerns and wanted to be like those Saturday afternoon heroes. He got a job on a ranch and loved it. Talking about pursuing your dreams, he's an award-winning cowboy poet and has so many awards that he had to build a bigger barn to keep them in. A favorite MC for Western gatherings all over the country. Let's welcome Lone Pine Film Festival longtime MC, Larry Maurice. Take it away, Carl.
Thank you, Pixel. I will make a quick announcement because people ask, Don Kelson will not be with us. We planned this, but he had an unfortunate family emergency and had to scoot on back down to LA. And so we're monitoring his progress, and so family comes first. So film festival or not. Well, here we are, 35 years. Scary, huh? Scary. All right. So,
Yeah, let's turn on the
let's
light.
do that. We have a special button that we will. What did I do with mine? I lost it already. No, it's in my pocket.
There you go. That's just
Which says on it, and there's a few of you around that we know of, and it says, "I've been to all 35." So, is there anyone seated in the audience that has been to all 35?
Let's get them to come.
No?
no.
Huh? Yeah. So,
Who's
for
all
those of you
35?
Yeah. And if you missed the COVID one, it doesn't count. So,
We've
huh?
got. So we've got one all 35.
Oh! There we go. Very cool. So for those of you who have been to at least 30, has anybody here been to 30? All right, we have buttons for you, okay? And it says, I've been to almost all of them. Okay?
All right.
So make sure, Cindy has been with us, you know her, if you've been to the museum, wherever she's like drawing modern there. She helps out on the sunrise tours all the time. And so here it is. It says I've been to almost all 35. So you guys, you know, if you're 30 plus, then make sure you pick up one of these before you
Pass them
go.
down.
Yeah. Barry, I know, has been here. There we go. So it was just kind of a fun. JD came up with this, and he said, "You know, let's do a button of some sort, some sort of recognition." So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I thought maybe you backed into a pheasant this morning or something. Very good. You know, pretty easy to see you with that, huh? I said it's pretty easy to find you with that, huh?
See me after the presentation if you're too shy.
So 35
Thank you,
years,
JD.
how did you start?
My friend moved here in 90. I came to visit her with her sister out of LA. And I see these guys walking around dressed up, and I'm like, what's going on? And they said, oh, we're having a film festival. And so we hung out, talked to people and everything. The next year I came, and I got put to work.
She's been working very hard. Give her a nice one. She's
Yep,
so that's how I got involved with the festival also. The boss said I was working for the Mammoth Lakes Pack outfit up there, and we were buttoning up the pack station for the winter. And I heard that Roy Rogers was going to be in Lone Pine. And when I was a kid, I'm from Connecticut originally. My mom said when I came out I was pointed west. Roy Rogers and Dale Evans came to the State Theater in Waterbury, Connecticut, and on one of their tours when I was a kid, My brother had scarlet fever and we were quarantined in those days. And I couldn't go. And boy, was I pissed. So I said, this time I went to my boss and I said, Roy Rogers is going to be, and I got really professional. I said, Roy Rogers is going to be in Lone Pine this weekend. I'm going to go. And he said, really? We'll all go. And so we packed up all the pack station people and came down here. I didn't know it, but Lou Roser, who runs Mammoth Lake's pack outfit, Lauren James had stayed with the pack outfit people because stuntmen always know where the good food is. And when they were working on Nevada Smith, and most of the horses that were in Nevada Smith, because a lot of that was filmed in Mammoth and Bishop, came from the pack station. So I got to meet Roy and Dusty, and then all of a sudden my boss, I'm standing there, and Lauren comes up and he says, Lou Roser, hey, how are you? And I'm going, wow, what's going on here? And I met Lauren James, and Lauren and I became fast friends from the very second we met each other. And he was a good friend, and I miss him dearly. All right, what do you think?
We're going to introduce,
Sure.
Melody's going to introduce Vimeo.
Right.
Or Vimeo.
So,
What am I doing?
yeah,
Right.
I'm going to give you this one. Well, you tell.
What am I? Sure. Hi. Hi, everybody. Thank you. This would not be, I said I wasn't going to do it. This would not be as wonderful if it wasn't for each of you showing up and celebrating all this movie history with us. So thank you. I promised you I would try, so thank you.
We're gonna sit down.
I'm glad because this is not my strong suit. Everybody says, channel your father, and I'm like, nope, I'm just going to leave that to Daddy. We were a church group, and there were about 10 couples that wanted to go do something for the weekend. And so my dad said, well, there's this little town about 3 hours north, and we could go up there, spend the night, and come home. So he and Mom arranged for the start of this little group, and we started actually at Vasquez Rocks. We drove from the San Fernando Valley to Vasquez Rocks, saw what was filmed there at the time, and then continued on north on Highway 14 up to 395 to Lone Pine. We get to basically what is Lone Ranger Canyon, Potsagawa Gardens, and he lets us out of the bus. Yes, we were on a bus. And says, I'm going to hand you photos. I want you to go find this location. And when you hear this bell, come on back around. We hear the bell, we come back around, and there's a whole table of linens and flowers in the center and the smell of food. And there's a meal out there in Potsagawa Gardens, which is now, as you know, where the Concert in the Rocks is. We went back to town, spent the night, got up in the morning because, as you know, most of the shots are done in the morning. So he took us out early in the morning, as when you would normally film, and looked for more sites and drove home. And Carrie Powell at the time, she and her husband Ray owned the Best Western. She was refurbishing the Best Western with local movie stills because she knew the history of the area. And I believe she was even in some of the movies, Gunga Din maybe, as an extra. She heard from Jeannie and Lynn at the Dow that this gentleman was coming in town and talking movies, not filming, but talking movies. And so she said, well, if he comes back, you need to make sure we get introduced. Well, sure enough, back to the church group, the seniors at the church wanted to do this fabulous trip that they heard about. So we took the seniors up and repeated the trip. And that's when he met Jeannie and Lynn and Carrie, who were the movers and shakers in town. And so Carrie said, I know there's this history of all this filmmaking in Lone Pine, and I think we need to celebrate it. That's kind of where he was making some side money, but then he was also writing a book and on the Lone Ranger at the time. So this was the late 80s.
Wasn't he?
This is the late 80s. So
yeah.
And honestly, when he came back to town, he said, well, where's this book on all these movie locations in Lone Pine? And everybody said, no, there's no book. And so then that got his brain thinking, gosh, maybe I could write a book on all this stuff. But in the meantime, Carrie Howell said, let's have a film festival. October is typically a slow time. In the late 80s, early 90s in Lone Pine, there was not much happening. The summer people had left town. Winter skiers hadn't quite started showing up and going up north to Mammoth and Tahoe and June Lake. So they decided that Columbus Day weekend, Indigenous people now as we know it, was a good time to do this festival. It was cooler weather too, but the winter freeze hadn't come yet. No, and that was his concern. Was he said, I've got a few contacts. I can bring a few people in town, but I don't know anything about Lone Pine, and that's where the locals really stepped up. And as you know, to this day on the festival, if it weren't for the locals, they're the ones that make the film festival a success. And so we held the first film festival in 1990. He made several trips up. He and my mom made several trips up and helped them, because he would say, okay, well, we can do such and such, and they would figure out the logistics of it.
Did you ever imagine that you would someday be the director of the film festival?
Oh, heavens, JD, good Lord, no.
Yeah, good Lord, no. So my question is, did your dad have all of these connections to all these movie stars and that sort of thing, or how did that come about? How did they get the actual movie stars to come up here?
My father, I'll try to make it pithy. He was born and raised in South Georgia. Went into the Navy, met and was writing for the Navy newspaper, met a gentleman who was taking photos. And the gentleman taking photos was from Santa Monica, and my father was just like, do you realize how close that is to Hollywood? My dad was enamored with the B-Westerns. He grew up watching the matinees. And when he came out to Southern California, he worked right away in PR. He was in charge of PR for the Schubert Theater, the Greek Theater, and the first picture you saw was when the Valley Music Theater opened. He was helped with getting the Valley Music Theater in Woodland Hills up and running. And that photo, actually, I was the youngest shareholder. Obviously, I made no money at it because the Valley Music Theater's closed. But he had his dabble in all of that marketing. And then he went into location consulting, and he would help the studios find locations. And through that became friends with Roy. We had property out in Victorville, and so he knew Roy and he knew Gene Autry. So that's kind of how all that started.
So, yeah, what you're saying is Dave working on, where's that picture? Bad Day of Black Rock.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. And we'll show you some folks that oh, wow, who's that? That's Mom. That's my mom. Yeah. Aren't they cute?
Oh, great.
Yeah. Now, Carrie and Ray Powell, that was Carrie's idea, and she was a local artist and was enamored with the whole film festival, and so she said, we can do this, and along with Dave and a couple of other folks that you're going to see on the screen here coming up. Yeah, she was pretty happy to be standing in that museum because she didn't think it ever happened. Dorothy Bonifin was a film festival director for many years. She was also, that picture you see right there, she was working as an extra, and King of the Khyber Rifles she worked in. She was working, and there she is working again at the museum. So the local folks, hi Dorothy, you can stop that for a second right there if you would. That's good, that's a good picture too, I like that. Dorothy and I became very, very good friends, and I stayed at her, when I came up to do the film festival, I stayed at her house, which is just up here when you're going up to On Whitney Portal, where you see the sign there that says the old Pack Station sign, her house is right there. And I did that for, gosh, almost 10 years, I guess, or so. So when she sold her house, one of the clauses in the contract was that I got to use the back bedroom whenever the film festival was. True story. She's a local realtor in town, which I love. Dorothy is, we'll go visit her a little bit. She's still here in town, and she's at the managed care facility here in town, and just love her dearly. She was a great mover and shaker. That's Dick Jones, for those of you, he was one of our absolute great guests, and Range Rider and quite a few other movies. It was just a super guest. I asked Ben Johnson once, I said, who do you think is the best horse person in Hollywood? And he didn't even take a half of a breath. He said, Dick Jones. And you watch some of those movies that he was in, or his Range Rider stuff that he did with Jock Mahoney. He told the story. He said, we had no budget, so we had to do all of our own stunts. So it was in the saloon door, up the stairs, up over the roof, out the window, jump over the thing, drop over the thing, do it all. And if you watch those, you'll see it all done in one cut. There's no fool around in that sort of. It's an amazing guy. Go. There we go. So we were trying to figure out how to really put this together. So we took it there, yeah, and we started to figure out, okay, it took more than just the founders. Mm-hmm. So these are just some of it, but it took so many people, all the townspeople, and you all have done it. You've driven by this place, driving through Lone Pine many times. Nobody ever stopped. They just on their way to Mammoth or somewhere else, and so the locals said, "Hey, this is going to put us on the map," and it really has. We are one of the top 10 film festivals in the world. We're right there with Cannes and Sundance and all that. So you can't do it without local participation. Can't do it without volunteers. It's impossible. Yeah. And we'll just let this run. This is the first film festival was called the Sierra Film Festival. So this is some footage that we were able to find from one of the local TV stations in LA.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Pierce Lydon.
You can talk over this. There's no.
No, I didn't want to talk over it. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Thank you very much, Nancy. And thank you all for coming here today. It's a very special day on a very special weekend. For a long time they've called Hollywood the Dream Factory, the place where dreams are manufactured. And if that's so, and it certainly is, then up here in the Alabama hills, where those dreams, a lot of those dreams came true, when Hollywood came on location in Lone Pine. And today we're commemorating an era and an area as we share memories of movies and personalities that we've loved for more years than most of us want to admit. But and interestingly enough, as we commemorate an era and an area, the era maybe is gone, but thank the good Lord, the area is still here and looking better than ever. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A major highlight in the first Sierra Film Festival was the placement of a permanent roadside historical monument commemorating all the movies done in the Alabama hills, dedicated by Roy Rogers. The King of the Cowboys had his first starring role in a feature, Under the Western Stars, shot in Lone Pine in 1938.
Well, this is really a privilege and a real honor. In How the West Was Won, King of the Khyber Rifles, High Sierras, along with the Lone Ranger, Bonanza, with such stars as Tom Mix, Hopalong Cassidy, Roy Rogers, Gary Cooper, Gene Autry, Glenn Ford, Humphrey Bogart, John Wayne, and well, they've all been filmed in these rugged Alabama hills, which is, I think, one of the most beautiful spots in America, with a majestic Sierra Nevada background. And, that I've talked about the Pikes Peak up there. And we're now going to unveil this beautiful sculpture. I haven't had a chance to see it. Yes. Yeah. There we are. Pike Place here by Captain Davis, Captain Stevens.